You're listening to The Real Estate Ride. Make sure to subscribe and enjoy the show.
Contractors, right? Don't put out the price as to what you're going to give them.
Let them tell you.
Yeah, let them tell you. Have a discussion with them as to what they're expecting. So if a private money lender wants 15% and 2 points, we're not going to say, well, we can get you 15% and 5 points. How does that sound? We're going to let them tell us, because some may only want 10. Some may want 12. And the same thing goes for contractors, which we're going to get to in a little bit. But don't say, well, I can give you $15 an hour if they're willing to take 10 or 12. Right. 9. You know what I mean? Let them, whoever says the number first loses, is what Jay always says.
Yeah. So today we want to talk about setting up the big picture. So setting up your company for success. This call is about building your team of A players. Okay. So as you know, this business, you own your own business, but it only works as well as the team that you surround yourself with, right? So, there's many different facets and many different moving parts to a real estate transaction, whether you're wholesaling, fixing, flipping, lease optioning, or anything like that. You need to have your team of players in place to help you hit your goals. And the better your team, the better you're going to be at hitting the goals that you want to hit. So put a short list together here, and we can add to this too as we go if you guys think of anything else. So one thing that you're going to need is attorneys. Okay. And it's plural for a reason. We don't use just one attorney. We have an attorney just for litigation, and that's whether we're litigating against someone else or they're litigating against us. Both has happened. It's just a part of being in real estate. When you've done enough transactions, you're going to run into a legal dispute. So it's important to have a litigation attorney. Okay. Next, if you're, depending on what state you're in, you may need an attorney for title work. In Ohio, we just use a title company, and they usually either have an attorney on staff or they subcontract their attorney work out to another attorney. I just muted someone with background noise.
You're still getting background noise.
So if you guys want to add something, you can mute yourself. Where I'm getting noise from. There we go. It's from Rob. Okay, Rob, I muted you. So, you may need an attorney for title work. The title company that we typically use in Central Ohio is Elite Land Title. And as an example, they don't have an attorney on staff. So they subcontract their attorney work out. And we use our own attorney just for deed prep and note prep and mortgage prep when we are doing closings for fix and flip houses. The other thing you have to consider if you're in an attorney state is, are they wholesale friendly? And that would go under title company as well. which I don't think I have on the list yet.
No, you don't.
Okay. So you want someone who is wholesale friendly. Wholesaling is legal. It just needs to be done in a certain fashion in order for it to be legal. Okay. And that basically, in a nutshell, is you're disclosing to the seller that you may assign your contract to someone else. And on the same side, you are disclosing to the buyer that you are assigning a contract to them. So it varies from attorney to attorney or title company to title company. As an example, Elite Land Title lets us wholesale because I am a licensed agent. And so they consider that that I have a license to transact real estate, and they're fine with that. However, we recently were purchasing a deal, not we, but Bonnie. Yeah, Bonnie and Andy were purchasing a deal from a wholesaler, and he doesn't have a real estate license. And so Elite Land Title did not want to do that transaction. So we moved that over to Golden Title. Okay. So Golden Title allows for wholesaling without a license. And they allow for escrow. Okay. So escrow means if you are buying a fix and flip property, perfect example is Andy and Bonnie's deal. There's like, say, $50,000 in rehab. Well, a private money lender, and Wade and us just had this conversation, me, Wade, and Annie, about they don't want the borrower to get all the money at once. They don't need $50,000 at once to rehab a house. So it's split into draws. And so we instruct the title company how those draws are going to be split. And we do that on behalf of our private money lenders to protect them. And also, like I said, the borrower doesn't need $50,000 up front to rehab a house. So as an example, you could say split it into 20,000, 20,000, and 10,000. And then the borrower has to submit pictures and receipts or invoices or how much has been paid out, something that shows this was done and this was the cost for that portion. Because not every title company is willing to do that. They don't want to be responsible for escrow repairs. In fact, the majority of title companies do not want to do escrow funds. So it's very important, if you're writing offers, that you instruct your realtors how your process works. Okay. So as an example, instruct them that it's a private money loan, not cash.
No matter what they tell you.
Okay.
You have more issues with this than I care to deal with, to be honest. The real estate agent thinks that they know what they're doing and thinks that private money is cash. And that's not the case. There is a note and a mortgage on all private money loans and all private money deals. And every private money person or hard money person that we deal with wants a note and mortgage on the property. So it is not cash. It will never be cash, no matter what they say. It is not a cash deal.
Yeah, and our system is kind of, you could almost say it's similar to a bank, where you have a board of directors, right, that approves a loan. That would be Annie and myself. And then the private money lender, who is relying on our experience and our knowledge of construction and our knowledge of our local real estate market. They're trusting us that we've done the due diligence in order to protect them and you guys as well. So we're out to protect everyone, which is why we tell you not to put cash on your purchase contracts, because it really truly is contingent on financing approval. So there is a box normally for other financing. Okay. So you would let them know to check that box. And then you need to let them know to write in the title company. Now, just so you guys know, typically in Central Ohio, the seller pays for title insurance. However, when you are requesting your own title company, you are going to pay the title insurance. But trust me when I tell you that that is perfectly okay. All right. It's worth a few $100 that you have to pay extra to get your own title company. And the perfect example is a deal that we just closed with Chris and James. Their agent did not put the title company in the purchase contract. So, of course, the seller and the selling agent assume we're using their title companies. We get 10 days out from closing. Title company says, we want escrow funds.
It wasn't even 10 days.
Okay.
Like 3 days out.
It was a week at least. So we want escrow funds. And so guess what we said? This deal isn't going to close. You're either switching to our title company, which we instructed you to do in the first place, or this deal is not closing. Okay. So there was back and forth. An addendum had to be done. Now the listing agent is pissed off. The seller's pissed off. They think it's a cash deal because it was written cash in the contract. They're even more pissed off about that. The seller doesn't understand what's happening. Nobody knows what this private money thing is. And so now everybody is hesitant about this deal closing, which it closed fine. It closed by the deadline. Everybody got their money. Everybody was happy. However, you are building long-term relationships in your community with other agents. And if you give them a hard time, they're going to walk around in their office and tell all the other agents about how hard of a time it was to close a deal with you. And so if you run into a multiple offer situation in the future and it's you versus someone else, what do you think that agent's going to say? Hey, Mr. Seller, I wouldn't take this one because these guys are a pain in the butt to deal with. Right? So don't think about this is just a one-time transaction you're doing with someone. You're building long-term relationships with multiple people in your community. Okay? Attorneys, you can also have them review your documents if you'd like. You can have them set up your LLC if you wanted. We have them prepare trusts for us because we can't legally do a trust. You have to have an attorney do that. And the trust is more for properties you're going to take over and put the property into a trust. So you're going to become a long-term owner of that property. Attorneys and title companies can also give you lists. Okay? They can give you lists of addresses of people that you can target to mail to, or that you can skip trace and call. So talk to your title companies and say, what tools can you give us to help us close more transactions and bring you more business, right? So we got a list from one of our title companies recently, and we're able to get a small list once a month. So they're a critical asset to your team. You know, that list could be worth a few $100s every month. And a lot of them are paying a monthly subscription for lists to provide to mainly to realtors. But as an investor, you can definitely, you know, ask your title company what you can get from them, or your attorney.
The main thing when setting up all of these players into your team, you have to remember is that they work for you, not the other way around. So if they aren't doing things the way they need to be done, then they aren't the person for you. If you have to continuously tell somebody, such as a realtor, specifically realtors so far, as for what we've discussed, if you have to continuously tell them that it is not a cash deal, they cannot put cash on the thing, on the contract. If you want to use a specific title company and they keep telling you that they want to use another title company, then that person is not for you. And it is okay to fire them. You don't have to continuously work with somebody just because it's convenient or just because you feel obligated if they aren't doing what you expect them or want them to do. If the roles were reversed and they were your boss, don't think for a second that you would continue working for somebody if you weren't doing what they expected of you. So it's very difficult in our experience for new people that have businesses to say, I don't want to work with you anymore for whatever the reason. If they're not doing things that that are expected of them, or that you want them to do or need them to do or have continuously told them to do. So just keep that in mind when you're setting up your A players, because you want A players. You don't want B and C players.
If you're unsure in your area, which people are, let's say, investor friendly, ask your local RIA, go to a couple RIA meetings, go to a meetup and ask and find out, you know, who are people using in the area, and they will refer you because they're happy with the service that they're getting.
Right.
Okay. It's who do you know, right? Same situation. Your network is your net worth, right? So just ask and see. You could even ask your title company, if you find them first, hey, what realtors do you know that are good to work with for investors, right? So for us, we have Golden Title, Elite Land Title, they allow escrow funds,
Anderson title.
but no wholesaling without a license.
A real estate license.
Yeah, real estate license. And then we also have world-class title. Will allow escrow and wholesale. Anderson title will allow escrow subject to, so you're taking over a property. Okay. So realtors, you can find them on Google. It is very powerful to have a large list of realtors to be emailing and or text blasting or voice blasting them regularly that you're looking for deals, because they are going to have deals coming up that aren't on the market yet, and they want to get both sides of the commission. And if you are communicating with them regularly, like on a weekly basis, then they're going to think of you when they come across a distressed deal, a seller that can't sell, somebody's property's too beat up to list on the MLS as an FHA deal. Or maybe they have a seller that needs to sell super fast and can't even wait. So they'll come to you because they know you can close quick. That you can close quickly. So you can find realtors on Google. Google search your town. You can buy a list of agents. Okay. The list you buy will give you their name, what office they're with, and their office phone. So then if you do get this, then you have to skip trace or have someone search, like a virtual assistant right here, have them search for the agents and add their cell phone number and their email.
Or the other thing you can do is just pick up the phone and start looking through your area as far as what agents are there, and just call the offices and say, hey, I'm a new investor, or I'm investing in this area now and would like to have, whatever deals you come across, if you could send them to me, be on your list of cash buyers, whatever the case may be. Because even though it's private money and not cash, it's still going to close faster than a conventional loan or an FHA loan or something like that. So don't put cash on the offers, but private money is faster than conventional funding.
Yeah. If you want to make your offer a little bit sweeter, you can skip the inspection period if you want. You just want to make sure that you have thoroughly looked over the property, and or your contractor and or your coaches to make sure that you didn't miss anything on your project. So that's something you could consider. We would never skip inspecting a septic system. That's not something that you can see, right? If it works correctly or not. So always get your septics inspected, preferably with a camera, because sometimes it may pass a dye test where they put dye down the drain with dish soap. But there still could be a crack somewhere, like on the bottom side of the drain pipe. And so it's seeping down into the ground and you don't know it. So spend the extra couple $100, because that is a ticket item that could be 10 grand all the way up to, I've heard, $35,000 here in Ohio.
Oh, it's fine.
So you want to make sure that your property, if it has a septic, that it's getting inspected. Mortgage lenders. This could be bankers or mortgage brokers. We use them a lot for lease options, to screen the tenants. Okay. You have a really good mortgage lender. You could also use them for your purchase contracts. If you wanted them to pre-qualify your buyer that you have on your house that you just flipped. So this is a strategy where you can put in the MLS, buyer must be pre-qualified by our lender, right? With no obligation to use them. Okay. Why would you do this? Perfect example. My dad is selling one of his rentals and we got his house under contract. They had a pre-approval letter from a banker, and it's even a credit union here in our town. So they're typically a little bit better about qualifying their people than in this instance. So a week into the contract, we find out that the guy has to cancel because he can't get qualified to purchase. Okay. So that was a week wasted on a property that if we had required for that borrower to get approved with one of our preferred lenders, we would have known right up front before they actually purchased the home. So you may or may not get kickback from that on other agents, but if you want to make it your rule, then you can make it your rule for them to buy your property, that you want your lender to double check all their numbers and make sure that they're qualified from their point of view.
Because again, these people work for you. So if you aren't getting the results that you expect, or, you know, in the guidelines that you have set up for your business, then it's okay to use somebody else. It's okay to get things moving in the direction that they need to be moving based on the people that you're using. Now, you're not forcing them to use them long term. You're just double checking, right? And then offering them the option of using them, because you cannot force anybody to use only the people that you work with.
So the next item is private money lenders. So obviously, if you're in our high-end coaching group, you have access to private money lenders, but that doesn't mean that you can't or shouldn't find your own private money lenders as well. You can never have access to too much money, right? So if you're out there doing this on your own, make sure you have more than one private money lender, because they might be lending to someone else. Typically, it's coming on a case-by-case basis, and you're trying to figure out, do they have enough to fund this deal? And if they don't, then you should have other private money lenders lined up and ready to go. So with that, it's good to have a trying to think of the word, a portfolio of deals done, right? Or if you're new and you're in our group, bring them to us, and we will do case studies with them. And we've actually done walkthroughs on a Zoom call with lenders from California. They've never met us in person, never came to the properties, but we walk them through the projects, and we just show them some in the beginning stage, middle, end, and they get comfortable with the process and how things work. And that helps them feel confident in lending thousands of dollars. You got to think that sometimes when these lenders are lending 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, $120,000, that could be their entire savings. They've spent years earning this money. And so they want to feel comfortable that they're loaning their money to somebody who is going to perform, somebody that is going to execute and get the deal done. And everybody makes money, right? The private money lender makes some money. You guys make some money. Everybody's happy in the end. Okay. So, you can find private money lenders at your local RIAs. You can join Facebook groups for private money lenders. You can send postcards to people that have purchased homes cash in the last 12 months. They could potentially be a private money lender. So there's lots of ways that that you can connect with people, and we don't recommend the first time they contact you that you're like, hey, do you want to fund this deal tomorrow, right?
But at the same time, if you know anybody that has a job that offers a 401k or an IRA as part of their retirement funds, and they've been with them for any length of time, those people are potentially private money lenders. Depending on if their company allows them to have a self-directed 401k or self-directed IRA. For instance, my dad, who has worked for the same company for 20 plus years at least, he has a 401k, but it is not self-directed and they don't allow him to self-direct it. So there are guidelines for other people, but potentially anyone that you know that has a 401k or an IRA is an option for a private money lender. We just have to have a conversation with them, or you could, or both, and figure out if it's a possibility and if they have it set up the right way.
Jay, Annie, this is John.
Hi, John.
Hi, guys. I think there's SEC regulations. It indicates something about 3 touches before you approach somebody about anything specific like that. Is that correct?
I don't know if it's 3 touches, but I know that if you are approaching people about a certain interest rate,
Right.
You're-
Specifics.
a specific interest rate, like, do not go on Facebook and say, I need a private money loan. I'll pay you 10% interest.
Yeah, you cannot guarantee anything really, any kind of returns on anything specifically without more than, you know what I mean? You can't advertise a specific interest rate for everyone that does private money with you. So
Yeah.
you have to be very careful. But you can definitely have a conversation about you know, if they want to be a private money or lender, or if there's private money lending options available for that person
Yeah.
without being specific on what you're offering them.
Yeah. That's a good point, John.
So you can put out a postcard that's generic and that's okay, or does it have to be approved by SEC or anything like that?
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Can you send out a postcard looking for hard money lenders?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can send out a postcard. Absolutely. You just cannot put on the postcard, I'm looking for private money and I'm going to offer you 10%. Or I'm going to offer you 18%.
Okay, so you're saying you can put out a postcard that says you're looking for I guess lenders, but you can't put specifics on.
On what
Right.
you're offering them. Yes.
Right.
Correct.
So you could put on there case study of my last flip, and my private money lender made $4,732, right? Or contact us to find out about how we're making other people money through our house flips, right? You could even hold an event. Hey, come to our event this weekend and learn about what does it look like to be a private money lender.
As long as you're not specifically saying be a private money lender with me, I can get you 18%, or I can get you 15% plus 4 points, or I can get you 12% plus 3 points.
Yeah.
You can't put any specifics on what you're going to offer them or what you're able, quote unquote, able to get them. But you can definitely send out something or have an event on something saying, come and learn about what private money can do for you, or what we can do with your retirement funds, or whatever you want to.
Yeah. Something else to think about is different people want different rates of return. So when you're having a discussion with a private money lender and they're like, well, what kind of return can you give me? What do you think we say?
It depends.
What kind of return are you looking for?
And that goes for everything. I mean, it go from private money lenders to contractors, right? Don't put out the price as to what you're going to give them.
Let them tell you.
Yeah, let them tell you. Have a discussion with them as to what they're expecting. So if a private money lender wants 15% and 2 points, we're not going to say, well, we can get you 15% and 5 points. How does that sound? We're going to let them tell us, because some may only want 10, some may want 12. And the same thing goes for contractors, which we're going to get to in a little bit. But don't say, well, I can give you $15 an hour if they're willing to take 10 or 12. Great, 9. You know what I mean? Let them, whoever says the number first loses, is what Jay always says. So have a discussion on what their expectations are before you can tell them what you offer them.
Okay.
Yeah, and if they're new to real estate and you tell them I'm going to pay you 15%, they're going to be like, this is a scam.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't, in their mind, no one would ever pay 15%
Interest rates.
for a home loan. Right? They don't fathom that. Why would you do that? But they don't understand that this is just a quick turn project.
The projects are only,
You're not paying 15% for 30 years. So just ask them, what do you want? And then they'll tell you. And then you have to see if you can make that work, or you could counter them with something if you wanted. But
Right. I think there's a feeling that any interest over 12 or 13% is considered higher risk.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, we just did a deal, and there's 2 lenders on one project. One wanted 12% and 4 points, and the other one wanted 15% and 1 point or 2 points. I can't remember which.
but everybody's different, because everybody's willing to take a risk at a different level, obviously. And everybody wants a return on their money at different levels as well. So have a conversation with them. Let them tell you what they're expecting before you say, this is what I can get you. And never put on anything advertising wise that this is what I can get you.
Right. Okay.
So when you're talking to private money lenders, you should have something to send them, like about us, pamphlet, or like private money lending info packet, right?
Do you have something that we can show somebody? A form of some sort?
Yep.
Okay, great.
It's a credibility pack, right? So it just gets them familiar with you, your process. Like I said, if you're new, just outline the private money lending process and give them that, and be upfront with them. Like, if you're with our group, we'll help you get them closed.
Yep.
Right. But if you're trying to do it on your own, I would be upfront and be like, hey, I'm in a coaching group. My coaches are watching over everything I'm doing. They're approving everything to make sure that your risk is minimal. Obviously, there's risk anytime that you're going to loan money, but we want to minimize it as much as possible. And you could even offer to partner with them if you wanted. Hey, why don't we partner on the first deal? We can own it together. That way you're in it with me. You know, I'm not going to, I can't just, you know, run off with your money or whatever it is that you're worried about. Then we own it together and split the profits with them. You'll find out what they're comfortable with, and then try to structure your deal around what they want.
And this is the biggest reason that we have the formula that we do for all of our flips and all of our real estate stuff in general, is so that it protects not only the person that owns the house or the student that we're dealing with, but it also protects the person that's lending the money.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
So hard money lenders and private money lenders sometimes are called the same thing, but there's hard money lender like brokerages out there as well.
Yeah. So one, as an example, that's huge. It's owned by an insurance company. It's called Ricasa. And I think they land in about, I'm guessing about 30 states. And they're like prime plus
It was 10%, wasn't it, when I pulled it up the other day?
plus 2
No,
or
it was
5 or plus 5.25, something like that. Anyway, their rate right now is around like 11.75 or something like that. Plus some points. So that's an example of one hard money lender, and their term is 9 months long. Now they require a minimum credit score. So
They currently lend in 16 states.
16 states. Okay.
CASA does.
I was way off on that. But one of them is Ohio.
Uh-huh. And Tennessee.
Tennessee also. Florida. So you all are in luck. Now they have certain guidelines, so you need to go over those guidelines. Like as an example, they will not lend on a property that's in the country. It's too hard to determine values, and so they want to stay away from that. So you got to be buying in the city somewhere. They prefer subdivisions.
Their minimum credit score is 680
Oh,
right now.
680 minimum score.
Their minimum loan is $60,000. Their maximum loan is $750,000. And they require that you have 10% of the requested loan amount in cash or cash equivalents.
So you don't have to put the money down, but you need to have 10% in reserves.
And no, Mike, they do not lend in Alabama.
Sorry, Mike. Womp, womp, womp.
Nice. Let's see. And it's for 9 months. And if you cannot repay the loan, you can request for them to extend for a short time or refinance it.
Yeah, we had to extend once with them. I think they charged us an extra 1 or 2 points.
And their interest rate right now is prime plus 6.25. And they will fund 100% of purchase and improvements and soft costs, but they only do 70 to 75% after repair value.
Yeah, so they want to know they're doing 680 because that's usually the minimum requirement for any bank to do a investment refinance. Okay. So that's why they're doing this. They want to know that if you can't sell the property, you're able to refinance it and get a permanent loan with the local bank. And they cap you at 70 to 75% LTV, which is loan to value, or you may know it as ARV, after repair value, because the banks want 20% equity. when they're refinancing you. Okay. So just a little bit on that. So it's good to have multiple hard money lenders, and a lot of times you'll find them at your local RIA. Okay. I can't type, so. Virtual assistants are fantastic for helping you with your mundane tasks. Our next training will be on the highest and best use of your time. And if you're outlining all of the stuff that you have to do in a real estate transaction, you're going to find that it's difficult to find enough time to get everything done that you need to get done. And you should be focusing on the high money making activities like talking to sellers, making offers, and looking at properties, and building your network. Those 4 things are what you should be focusing on. So you could have your virtual assistant looking for hard money lenders, right? Title companies. You could give them a list of questions to ask.
Properties themselves, they can look for properties themselves.
Properties themselves.
And there are a lot of different options. You still can't spell.
Can't say.
For VAs, and lucky for all of our coaching students, one of our coaching students is setting up his own virtual assistant. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Business, basically, virtual assistant business. He's going to set up his own call center. That's the word I was looking for. So Upwork is an option. Fiverr is an option. OnlineJobs.ph is an option because they're in the Philippines. But Mike Gentry is also an option. It's Bohemian Virtual Assistants, I believe. Let me double check real quick.
Yep, he's getting all that set up now.
Bohemian BPO. So he is in the process of setting that up and getting it set up, and has actually talked to several of you already. But that is an option. I am 100% sure, especially since you are part of this group. So, yeah, there's lots of different options and lots of different pay scale rates for virtual assistants. Obviously, you can do some local people that just do it for you as well.
Yep.
So,
So as an example, onlinejobs.ph, I think you pay $50 a month to have access while you're looking for someone. And then when you find them, you can cancel that monthly fee. But you can find someone for, say, $2 to $4 an hour. But you're going to have to train them yourself, right? Whereas if you hired Mike, he's doing the training for you. And as of the date of this recording, I think Mike's going to be somewhere around $5 to $6 an hour for his services. There's other companies you can hire that will train someone for you, and typically, a lot of times you're paying anywhere from $5 to $10 an hour. 5 to 8 is more like the range. But they may even have a setup fee,
right.
Some of them are charging $500 just to connect you with someone. But those people are trained. Fiverr and Upwork are great spots to get a virtual assistant for just one little project or long term as well. So you can keep an eye on them sometimes too. They have a software platform where it tracks how long they're on their screen. If you're worried about somebody, it's gonna rip you off for $2.
Right.
Right? Put down they had 8 hours. But another good point to that is when you're hiring someone, you should already know how to do what they're doing.
Right.
Like you should at least do it yourself once and see how long it takes you to do it, and create a little video like we've done here. showing you, hey, go here, do this, go here, do this. And then you do it one time. Your training is done. You can even share it with them, say on Upwork or Fiverr. You can upload your training video and they can even watch it before they bid on your job. And then they know exactly what they need to do, and they can give you a price. You can negotiate back and forth. So there's lots of different options for that. We would encourage you to try to pick someone within 15 or 20 minutes so that you're not analyzing people nonstop. Because you could go in and it's easy to get a couple hundred applicants on Upwork.
Right.
And you want to narrow that down to probably 2 or 3, do a quick interview with them and get them on the job.
Hey everybody, it's Jay.
This is Annie.
We are so grateful for you joining us on our podcast and listening in and participating. We want to offer you this additional free bonus, and that is joining our Facebook group.
Yes, where we will have other individuals, not just us, but having conversations on all things real estate, and we would love to have you join us. So just click the link below and head on over and join our group.
Thanks guys, we'll see you on the other side.